What gives your life meaning? The accumulation of wealth, or the happiness of those around you?
Woke up at 10 o'clock. Wore the silver coat. Won the endless war. Slept down what 2 o'clock. Stole the hat of green. Sang for the peace. And ready to love. Me and you and he as he. Doctor laughed at me. A policeman clawed at me. 'Cause many diseases
Our story begins with a typhoon and a young boy. A sleepy, sleepy boy. He picked a bad day to sleep in, though. This could be the most important day of his life. This opening scene is really cool and the only one like it in the game, so we might as well give it a full watch. And so it begins. Having been kept in his sleep by a strange dream where he was engaged in conversation with a spirit, Puckle's journey has already begun from rock bottom. This is the beginning of Giftpia, or more accurate pronunciation, Giftopia. While Puckle's serving his sentence, I'll just lay down the quick introduction. You ever played Moon? If not, you should. It's on just about every system without an X in the name, and it's pretty good. Giftopia represents the middle branch of the Moon lineage. Moon's three design directors, Taro Kudo, Kenichi Nishi, and Yoshiro Kimura, all split off to found one of three companies in the wake of the death of their old home base, Lovedelic. This places Giftopia as third in a line of, nine or 10 different games building on the initial concepts of Moon. We'll get into what that means in a sec, though. Looks like Puckle's getting a visit from someone. That someone would be Puckle's girlfriend and the mayor's daughter, Cappy. Furiously, she demands her father come down here right this instant and let us out. He sort of relents, eventually. Maybe not in the way she wanted, though. We get a ball and chain slapped around our leg and a mosaic covering our criminal visage from all passers-by. Cappy still loves us, though. Time to do time. We'll get let back home as long as we do a bit of quick community service and pay back our debt to society. So get to picking up trash and fishing for fish. The fine we've got to deal with is pretty hefty, but I'm sure nobody will mind if we just sell some fish from this fountain, right? Oh. Whoops. At least we got the money, and with that, our freedom. A criminal no more. The world is opened up. Nashi Island is our oyster, and the barriers walling us into our strict linear progression have fallen. So long as we ignore the massive debt still hanging over our head. Well, I say the barriers have fallen, but that may be a slight lie. Mayor doesn't got Mappo the police robot watching her every move anymore, but the limitations of Puckle's fragile, baby-like constitution and his light pockets mean we don't quite have the financial or physical muscle to walk about as we like. And walk about is what we have to learn to do, so getting over these limitations as fast as possible is our best possible course of action. This ain't Animal Crossing. On Nashi Island, time moves fast, and Puckle's eyelids droop faster. We need to earn cash to pay for a new coming-of-age ceremony, but if Puckle takes a nap on the sidewalk, some pesky sleep spirits will lighten up our purse for us. No physical harm, it's not like Moon where the timer is a hard expiration date, but it'll be a bad blow to our boy's dignity. What left of it he has, anyway. If you're coming from Moon, there's one bit of knowledge you might have picked up and might have tried to transfer over into this one. Eat food, stay up longer. Sadly, it looks like all the meat, mushrooms, and ramen on Nashi Island are decaf. The stomach has its own needs, and these needs are separate. Opposite the countdown to nappy time, we can see Pockle's stomach. I know it looks like heart, but trust me, it's his stomach. Every step this boy takes a few calories, and if those calories run out, it's lights out. Permanently. Food isn't helpful here, it's essential. Eat or die. Only way to boost Pockle's capacity is to find these little hearts and chomp them right down. By around mid-game, hunger shouldn't be a problem. Just carry a burger and a cup ramen or two, or 14. Working through debt is a rough time at the best of times, so try not to let it get to you. No, really, don't worry about it too much. We've got bigger problems. Paying off each tier of our debt does some public good. Mayor puts the funds into rebuilding bridges and installing lampposts, but it doesn't help Pockle with his more personal problems any. Without a clear way to help him grow up, poor little Pockle's gonna work himself to death long before he gets to grow an inch taller. Sliding our bank card through the Furikomi machine makes Mayor happy, but it doesn't constitute serious personal growth. You gotta ask around the town residents to get a clue on that front. Mentions of a weird old guy up the hill named Jiki. Now what's going on with this guy? Short walk up the hill and the man himself makes his presence known. Says he'll show us the real path forward. You don't grow up by earning money, kid. You gotta look inward, to something deeper. And the best way to see inside your heart is with a nice pot of boiled mushrooms. Let's tripping! Pockle's second meeting with the spirit, now possessing Jigi and clarifying its identity as the mushroom spirit specifically, helps to enlighten us about our real goal. Kindness and empathy, that's the way. We help others, we will, in turn, be helping ourselves. There's a lot of sadness and misfortune going about the island, and it doesn't seem like there's anyone who's willing to lend anyone their ear these days. Why, Pockle, do you even remember your own promise? You can't forget, man. It's too important. Remember. And so the game, truly, for real, begins. Pakal can't fulfill his promise to Cappy until he's grown up. Pakal can't grow up until he's got a stronger foundation for his maturity as a person. Only way to raise up that foundation is to help others. Let's helping. I did lie a bit when I said Giftopia opens up from here. It's actually the most linear game of the bunch. Even Chibi Robo's got less padlocks on progression. Taking every tiny little baby step we can, we've got to go ask the people around town about who's got troubles and what we can do to help them. Of course, you can't forget the wish beads required for truly learning and resolving these troubles. All acquired from this little shrine up the way, as long as you donate enough items. Clearest conversion is in mushrooms. 10 mushrooms equals 1 bead. The colored ones can give an extra 2 or 3 points, and some valuable items, such as the Sparrow's Tear, will give up to 7. My recommendation, grab every shroom you see and make a visit every time you pass by. You need a lot of these. Of course, before we can even know who to help, it'd help us to know just who these people are. We already know Pakal's girlfriend Cappy, ascetic spiritualist hermit, and old mushroom addict man Jigi, who's one of the few people old enough to remember ancient local tradition. Mayor, who is Cappy's dad, and the mayor, always stressing over money. Strict and hard-headed, doesn't seem to mean bad, but also doesn't really know how to do good. Local police robot Mappo, who also seems to mean well, but could be struggling to do it under the mayor's directions, and might have some slight confidence issues. And Pakal's dog, Tao, the recurring Skip Limited mascot. Most days you'll find Cappy sitting near the fountain with the youngest in town, Chibita. Chibita's puny, a bit impulsive, and a little bit of a brat. A quick walk over to the market lets us meet his mother, Rumiko, who always seems to be under a lot of pressure. She's got a bit of a mean streak, but I don't think she means too much by it. She's in a rough position. The two live in a repurposed local hotel run by Granny Baya, or Gran Baya, her mother and Chibita's grandma. You can get fortune-telling from her, courtesy of the power of her mystical snot bubbles. These can be a big help for when you get stuck and none of the regular dialogue hints anyone else is giving are helping you much. She's also the only person around old enough to have known Jigi in his youth, making her our second source of local lore and tradition. Sandwiched between the two is the kitchen, run by Apron, the regular sweet old cook lady. It seems like she's been a bit out of sorts lately, though. Not hard to guess why. Having to run the place on her own, she had a caring husband in the sailor Madaros, but nobody's seen him in a long time. Not since he last went out to sea. Neighboring the kitchen is PB's pad, just a floor above PB's bar. Bit of an Okama stereotype, and I'm not sure what end of it they're meant to land on exactly, but they're chill, and the bar is one of my favorite locations in the game, so they're cool in my book. Head down a bit, and you'll find the beach, home to the local radio station run by the DJ, and her own orange robot buddy, Dave. She doesn't really treat him very well, huh? Most days on the beach, you'll also bump into Anne, at least in the early game. An aspiring star and winner of last year's Miss Nashi beauty contest, Anne's a bit self-absorbed, but she's not all bad. The last two are Met and Potter. Potter? I'll call him Pada, because it's the cutest way of reading it, and this kid is genuinely adorable. Met is the local construction worker, gambling addict, and Rumiko's ex-husband, making him Chibita's father. Every movement of this man's muscles terrifies me. Pada lives closer to us, basically making him the closest we've got to a neighbor. Funny little kid who spends all his time taking care of his goats. I think Pada's my favorite character in the game. This kid's either zoning out or moving all over the place. He's got no in-between. There's some more guys beyond this, like Professor Adinso and his assistant, Galileo, and the tea shop robot lady higher up the mountain, and our local fisherman and Pockle's ex-cellmate, King. But these are the people who are most important to our day-to-day. As you go through Giftopia, you'll lend these guys a hand, laugh, cry, and maybe grow to feel some sense of intimacy with them.
Yeah. I need to make my script shorter in the future when I'm talking about things I don't really have the drive to do an Athena-length epic for, I guess. It's not that Giftopia is bad, but it is very exhausting. Playing the game was a bit exhausting, editing the video for the game for that long would be exhausting, especially with how unfortunate the style I chose to go about naming recordings and structuring this was. And I don't want to leave all this work lying around, so I'll just skip to talking through my feelings on the game, instead of presenting the events of the game itself. Unlike Athena, there's actually English playthroughs of Giftopia out there, and an English script if you really want to play it yourself. So I don't really have a duty here or anything. I have, admittedly, always had a weird relationship with skip-limited games. Giftopia lacks some of what annoys me, the unnecessary combat mainly. And there are some seriously funny scenes here. It's probably the most comedy-focused, largely for the best. But in terms of serious story stuff, I don't feel that the themes of Giftopia find proper resolution, sadly. If I have one recurring frustration with skip-limited games, it's that they often bring up complex or nuanced topics, and then resolve them in overly simplistic, Disney-like ways. Which is fitting here, I guess, for a game where you hook up an Okama with the CEO of Disney. That's probably my favorite part of the game, though. This sadly also goes for the core theme of Giftopia, the idea of nature and tradition versus modernity and science. It resolves this with, like, a really stupid mecha battle sequence, I guess. I don't know, I don't like this game's ending, which is all a huge shame. Because I do think that on an audio and visual, on just a general artistic level, this game is phenomenal. The art and animation is beautiful, the world it illustrates is very fun to be in, the music complements it perfectly, both the original tracks and the guest musician tracks, but with the game's absurd early game pressure that ultimately gives way to a more monotonous and unexciting late game. I don't know, I think Moon did the whole timer-based health stuff better. And as for the rest of the game, I have a hard time viewing it as much more than a weaker version of Chulip. Because Chulip's meaning was pretty easy to grasp. It didn't go for anything that high concept, and its approach to its exploration of more interpersonal, social, and family issues was altogether more coherent and more sympathetic. Chulip acknowledges poor relations between parents and daughter as something that is difficult to repair. You can't just magic that away. Giftopia will resolve a gulf of distrust between a daughter and father based on the father's abuse of power and neglect of his own daughter's privacy and wishes, with them just hugging it out and never talking about it again. Chulip will acknowledge domestic trouble between spouses also as something you don't just wash away. Even as you've helped them work some things out together, they're still going to be working those issues out for a while. Giftopia, I guess it does acknowledge that Rumiko and Met's problems aren't just water under the bridge, but I don't know. It still feels weird to me that, this is a story that resolves someone's suicidal tendencies born out of depression over senility with a comedy uppercut. Chulip's core meaning was just one of portraying a particular early life experience. The discomfort and lack of place of growing up in small town Japan. Giftpia picks vague, high-concept ideas, and in the move most reflective of my problems with Skip, tries to tackle a lot of darker, more personal subjects in a very lackadaisical, cartoonish way, which isn't inherently a bad idea. But there's a quote from Nashi, one about Chibi Robo. If we only concentrate on cheerful fun, we'll lose depth. There's nothing surprising for people if the game looks cheerful and the experience is cheerful. There's no surprises or unexpected things. Also, there are many other games or movies about the end of the world or a crisis of humankind. I think people already have a tolerance to those kinds of things and are desensitized in a sense. Divorce is a very personal thing and something that has less impact when we compare it to the end of the world. However, it is an extremely serious thing for people themselves. Instead of bringing in more cataclysmic things to give more stimuli to players, I thought it was more effective to bring in more ordinary things to enhance the adventure of daily life. This is an admirable statement, and given the more small-scale apocalyptic story Giftpia ends up operating on, the ultimate threat being an active volcano we rely on our big blue guardian spirit bro to save us from, I can see what it's reflecting off about this game, in turn with Giftpia's own more small-scale events. But I do feel like Giftpia shows a trend that continues throughout Skip's games. They will bring up serious topics, but they will not explore them. They will not think about them too deeply. There will be enough of them to be notable, but not enough for them to feel like a proper story in and of themselves. I don't want this to come off as shaming them exactly. I can mostly understand what they're going for. But it feels a bit weird when you have a contrast of a game that seems to be grasping for a more mature audience, with crass sexual, alcohol, and most notably drug-based humor, while still having the social understanding of a contemporary Disney movie. Especially when a very similar game exists from the studio Fellow Alumni, that's capable of treating these topics with much more grace and understanding of the inherent murky depths of the subject matter. So, yeah, sorry to leave this one on a bit of a downer note, but shit happened and I wanted to at least give my honest thoughts. I think Giftpia is pretty cool on the whole. The writing is vexing and the structure and pacing make it the least fun I've had playing one of these games. Well, after Captain Rainbow. But as an artistic project, yeah, I can't dump on it too much. It's gorgeous. Just wish the game around it was a bit better. And all in all, the goal I set out for with these videos is mostly just to give myself an excuse to play stuff I probably wouldn't play otherwise. Making this video got me one step further in playing the complete legacy of Love Delic games, and I mostly enjoyed doing it. So I'll count this one as a success. Here, take this T-posing pockle as a gift. I'm gonna try to make a smaller video from the start for the next one. Maybe just talk lightly about a variety of Dreamcast games I think are cool. I don't know, something chill. I can't do big videos. See ya. Enjoy listening to the rest of Closing Down by Kaimi Plants. It's one of my favorite tracks off the game's OST.